Heidi ho, my crafty friends. How are you today? I hope you're doing well. So today, I thought we would play with those little book pages that we glued together the other day. And my Tombow markers. Tombow markers, who knew? Who knew? I haven't played with these in forever. Oops, I just pulled the top off of one of them. Let me get it back on here. Okay, so what I think we're going to do here. Now, this is a Tombow marker. That's what it says. And it is a water-based marker. It has a little fat point at one end. Or mine do. I don't know if all of them do. And the little skinny point at the other. And I used to love playing with these. And, you know, as time has gone on, I kind of quit. So I think I'm going to play with some pink. And purple used to be my absolute favorite. So maybe we'll go with a couple of pink. I love playing with yellow. And the thing I really didn't like about these ones, they never match their tops. Maybe some purples. You know what? I think I'm going to lift you up here a little bit. Hold on a second. Let me move you out a little bit here, so you can kind of see what I'm doing. Here are all my colors. And whoops, I pulled the top off of that one too. Let's make sure all my tops are secure. Yeah, you want to make sure your tops on these click when you put them on. That way your markers don't dry out. And apparently, I didn't do that when I put them away. So I'm hoping they didn't dry out. I used to love playing with my purple ones. I used to always make lavender with them. Oh my gosh, they just blend so nicely. There's the yellow I was looking for. All right, so I want some yellow, and I think I want some pink, and I think I want some teal. Is that the only color I want? Now, the set I have also comes with a blender, but I'm going to use, after I make sure all these tops are on here. Okay, now I'm also going to keep out my greens. So I'm going to use those as my backgrounds, and I'm going to show you what we're going to do here. Now, I also have out my little drying tool. It's right here. It's right here. It's just my little Ranger heat tool. It's really quiet. And we're going to take these, and we're just going to make a mess. Yeah, it's kind of that simple. I am just going to go like this. Now, these are just those book pages. You know, just a book page that I folded together that I showed you yesterday. I folded it in thirds. And I'll show you how to do it, so you can make one if you want. You can see I'm just scribbling. All right, and then I just have a little squirt bottle of water. Now, I can't soak this like I would on some watercolor paper. So I'm just kind of spritzing, and I'm just going to let these markers kind of do their thing here, because I want some color all over this paper. Now, I think I will use my pen, or my pen. Good heavens. I think I will use my brush. It's a little more water than I wanted, but I think I need to get my brush wet. So I'm going to stick my brush in there. That'll help. And I'm going to spread this out a little bit. Where is it? I think I need some more yellow over here. And they spread differently when your paper's wet than when your paper's dry. Now, this book paper is just kind of soaking it up. There, see how it's spreading up here? Now, it's not spreading like I wanted it to. The book paper is so dry, it's just soaking it up. Come on. There it goes. Now it's wiggling. Now I'm also going to do this on a little piece of watercolor paper. It's wiggling around a little bit. Not doing what I wanted it to do. It's kind of staying too put. So I'm going to sit this up here to dry a little bit. And I'm going to grab here out of my scraps. This is just my scrap thing here. I'm going to grab this is just a scrap of watercolor paper. This is not my favorite paper cutter. But my big one's buried. It's buried right now. And I'm just cutting a little piece. There, I just cut a little piece. And I'm going to take my water. Let's see. I want this side. And I'm just getting it wet. All right. I got some blue on there, so I'm going to have to make sure I get that off on something. Now, it does work better on watercolor paper. Because what I wanted is, I just wanted this to kind of spread around a little bit. There, that's what I wanted. That was more of what I wanted rather than this. My book page is so old that it didn't allow it to spread. This was more of what I was looking for. So I'm going to dry. I'm just going to let them both sit here for a minute and dry. And I'm going to dry this off. And I'm going to, I know this probably isn't the way to do this, but I'm going to rinse this off. And go like this and try and get all that blue off of there. There, that's gone. Okay. Now, I'm going to just put it back in here and put it upside down for a couple minutes to let the paint go back down in it, and I'll worry about that one. All right. Now, that wasn't, don't do that. Don't do that. Now, I want to dry this. Now let me grab my book here. There, I think it's just about dry. Yeah, it's dry. Now if your paper starts curling up on you, you just dry it on the back. and then flattens out. Okay. Now, what I want to do is, now if you're not a button girl, or you don't like the sound of buttons, turn your volume down now, okay? Turn down your volume now, because I'm going to be getting out buttons, okay? Turn down your volume as soon as you see me put buttons on the table, because that's what I'm doing. Okay, I want to make some flowers with buttons. Now, I could cheat and just go like that, but I don't want to do that. I want my smaller buttons, and, oh, there they are. So I want some yellow. There's some small ones. There's some blue. There's that color. That's not what I'm looking for. There's that little red one. Now we're just going to make these into flowers. There's a pink one. Oh, there's a little orange one. Maybe. You're not orange. Come on. Okay, there's orange, there's pink. Oh, here's a different pink. Okay. Okay, so here's some we're going to play with. Okay, and these green ones I got out. Okay, now with my acrylic markers that we had out yesterday, I think we're going to use those rather than the Tombos. I have out my 2 shades of green. And I have out the pink. And I think I want some purple. Let's get these over here so I can be shaking them up. Do I have a brighter pink in here? Maybe. No, I think I like that pink. Okay. Now these are going to be the middle of the buttons. I mean, the middle of the flower, not the middle of the button. Sorry. Okay. So, let me get my book. Make sure we're not blooping. Let's wipe that off a little bit. And they're basically doodle flowers. Now, if you've never drawn a doodle flower, it's very easy to do. And we can even do it on this one. You can just draw doodle flowers. It's basically like this. And then you just take one of your buttons and you put it in the middle. And I definitely need to make my little boopers bigger, don't I? And then you just take your marker and you color it in. Okay, so that's big enough there. And then you take your marker and you color in your petals. Just like this. Now, I like to bring mine into the middle when I'm using buttons. Sometimes not all the way in the middle, but a little bit. Now, you can also do this with colored pencils. And if you don't have acrylic markers like these, that's okay. I love to do this with Crayola markers because the colors are nice and bright. I have just the basic set of acrylic markers or Crayola markers. Those are so much fun to play with. And if you get the paper wet when you're playing with Crayola markers, I think mine might even be watercolor markers. They are so much fun to play with. And the colors stay nice and bright. Okay, and then you're going to take your button and you're just going to glue it right in the middle, just like that. And then you'll take a green, whether it's a green acrylic marker, a green crayon, whatever you're using. If it's acrylic, you need to make sure, see this up here, right up here? You need to make sure that that's shaken up really well. Okay, and then you're just going to go like this. Give yourself a leaf or two, and then add your second one. Whatever color you want to add. Now, mine on this one are going to be pink, and this purple one's going to be a little bit taller, and it's going to have this little tiny button on it. It's going to go up there. So I can go on and draw. I know I want it to come down like that. And I want it to have a nice big leaf, even if it comes like that. So I know the flower can be really big. If I can get this off. I know the flower petals can be really big. And then you're going to do the same thing. You're going to color in the middle of your petals. And then decorate these petals any way you want. You can get as, as ornate as you want with them. You can be as simple as you want with them. Now, I like to keep mine simple if I'm using them in a journal. Or just if I'm playing, I like to keep them simple. See, like this. I just like coloring them in. And sometimes on old paper like this, I love using crayons. Just regular old Crayolas. I have a pack of Crayolas that I just love playing with. I don't know, the smell of crayons just it takes me back to when my son was in school and when I was in school. And when I would just sit and color. He used to love to color. I have no idea what he was drawing, but he used to love to color. Usually, I would end up with a funny dinosaur picture or something that he thought was a dinosaur. Hold on, I'm getting residue from my book page. And he was so proud of his dinosaurs. And they used to cover the refrigerator. Then as he got older, those refrigerator pictures went away. Hold on here. I need I need some paint to come down. There we go. As I'm running out of paint. So, but I told him now that I have a grandson, my grandson's picture covers the refrigerator. Okay. Now this big one, I will probably add some smaller leaves over here too. You know, to look like they're coming up. And maybe even a little bud in here. Just a little tiny bud sticking up right there. Just to fill that space in. Okay, now to glue my flowers on, I'm going to use my tacky glue. I'm just going to put a dollop of my tacky glue right there. And I'm going to put a dollop over here. Just like that. And then I'm just going to plop these right in. Now, I'll deal with all the, you know, trimming the corners or inking them or whatever else I want to do after everything else has dried. And I'll worry about these leaves after those have dried, because I might take my big Posca pens and do something in those bigger leaves after everything is dried. But that's how simple it is. Now for this one here, I'm going to take my little corner rounder just and nibble off those corners there, just like that. Just nibble it off. Nothing, you know, nothing really big. Oop. And, you know, try not to throw those down. And I'm going to make sure these are shaken up well. See this right up in here? That's why my ink or my paint wasn't coming out, because I didn't have that shaken up well. So I'm going to take a minute and shake this up, and I'm going to put these back in here, but I'm going to put these away and get out my white buttons. So I will be right back after there it is, after I pick up my marker. So I will be right back. Okay, so I got out some neutral buttons. So you can use any kind of buttons, and I got out my black Artist Loft pen. Now this is a 0.3, and this is how fine the tip is. I'm going to see if I can show you. Can you see how fine that tip is? It's a very fine tip. Now versus, let me see if I can find one of my tips that are bigger. Okay, here's a 5 versus this one. See the difference? Okay. Okay. So, the finer the line, now I'll probably use my 5 and I'll trace around my flowers so to give me a little more definition on them. So on this one, I want to use some of these neutral flowers so that my background stands out. Now, some of these are vintage buttons and some of them aren't. I think, you know, some of them like these are. But what I want to do on here is I want to, where's my pencil? I want to show you what I want to do is I want to kind of make like just all different types of shapes and sizes. Like I want to take in, I want to glue. And because my card's bent, let's see if I can straighten it up here a little bit. Oh, that's better. I might be better if I took this out from underneath it. Let's put something flat underneath it. It's not very clean, but he needs a bath. But let's try this. Oh, that's better. So I want to make, so it looks like that there are several on here, you know, in layers. So I want to put some of the smaller ones in the back, like this. And then bring the bigger ones up to the front. So let's find some of the smallest ones, like that. Now, whenever you're gluing down buttons, buttons have two sides. They have a side that has a little ridge on it, and then they have a flat side. Your buttons will glue down the best if your flat side is down. Now, I'm moving this little clear one more into color so you can see it a little bit better. So you can kind of play around with the placement of them so that you can see some of them a little bit better. Let's see, I don't think I want another dark one right there. Here's a little yellow one. That would be nice. Oops, that one needs to get turned over. Oh, that's the same on both sides. And maybe add a little pink one. Now this little card's starting to get a little heavy here, so I might have to take a few of them off. But we'll see after we maybe get a couple of them on here how it's looking, and I can decide what I want to do. Oops, that one's too small. This is the button box I'm pulling from. So let's see if we have something that has, for right down here, right there. I know it's not neutral, but it's the perfect size. And I think it might be the perfect color. Okay. So now before I move them, I want to take these two greens. Now this one I think needs shaking up a little bit more. Now I might go on and just glue them down, so I know where my stems are going to end up. And I think they're going to need to be moved around a little bit. And to tuck into a card, some of these at the bottom might have to scoot around a little bit. Or tuck into a pocket. Well, that didn't make any sense. And I'm just going to let the buttons stand for themselves. I'm not going to make the little boop-a-doop petals around these. So, let's see. I think there's too much dark at the top. I like this one the best. Too many light ones. Let's take that one out. And let's bring maybe this purple up. And I think that one needs to go. And sometimes I think it'd be better if you just picked them up and dropped them wherever they landed. That was where they landed. Okay, so I think like that. So I think we're just gonna scoot that one over a little bit. They're almost going to look like lollipops, aren't they? Okay, so I think one of them needs to come over here. That one needs to go up there. Okay, so there are my stems. So now let's put some little dots of glue down. Okay, let's... And let's drop these in the glue. Now, if you don't have buttons, you know, physical buttons, you can always draw them. You can punch them out of paper. You know, these would be really cute as paper circles, you know, with your paper punches. These would be really cute made that way. Different colors of paper that you've punched. That would be really, really cute. You could do that. I have no idea why I didn't finish that line, but we're going to do that. So you could do that. That would just be really cute, and we just might have to make one that way. Okay. All right, so we need to finish these lines that we didn't finish. Oops, wrong color. That didn't work. That wasn't very smart. Okay, so we have finished our lines here. Now we need to put some little leaves in here. Just some simple little leaves poking out. Nothing, you know, nothing really simple, nothing fancy. If you can draw better than I can, you could put a leaf or, I mean, a bird or a butterfly or... Oops, get back down there. Okay, now you all know what I'm about to doodle on here, don't you? You all know what it's going to be. Oops, we forgot to glue down the yellow one. So we need to put a little dot of glue here on the yellow one. Right here. Right there. I wonder why she kept moving around. There we go. Okay, so right here, actually, I think I'm going to put her right over here. And it's just a doodle, you know, and you all know I cannot draw. There she goes. That's about as horrible as it's going to get. But she is going to walk up the page. Now, I could very well have taken my little stamp, you know, that's about that size. You know, my little ladybugs, and stamped it. You know, because that's much cuter. Let's see here. I think I need to give her some more legs, don't I? I need to give her a couple legs out the back, too. There. Need to give her some more little dots. There. Now she looks better. I could have stamped my little ladybug down here like that. And that's just residue of what was on there. And now she's walking all around. But there. That's an easy peasy one to do. That's an easy one to do. And I think that might be dry enough. I can take this and very easily go around here like this. Okay, there's that part. Okay, now for our leaves, here's my Posca pens. Now let me find my green. Here's this green. I was looking for my other green. All right, well, I guess we're using this one. Let me shake it up here. Let me put these away. Or let me move them out of the way, I should say. Okay. Yeah, whenever you haven't used your Poscas, or you have Poscas, you always want to store them laying down. You don't want to store them standing up. You want to store them laying down. And before you start using them, you want to take, you know, just an old piece of paper of some kind, like I'm doing. After you shake them up. And as far as I know, and my other artist friends know, Poscas are the only ones that have a storage requirement. You want to write something, anything, you know, to make sure that the ink or the paint is down in the tip. Okay. Now I want to take this, and this is a different color than my leaves, which was what I wanted. And I am going to fill in my leaves here. And that's okay that I filled in and I think I'm going to make this a little bit heavier. And I'm going to make this one a little bit heavier. Now down here on this big one, while this is wet, I'm adding this other color. If you do it while it's wet, it'll work. If you don't do it while it's wet, it doesn't blend very well. Now, you can use Poscas on a variety of mediums. I've used them to paint chairs, besides paper, you know, of all sorts. I've used them to paint on chairs. Because it's acrylic paint, they make painting on chairs so easy. You have so much more control than using a brush. Oh my gosh, I love painting on chairs with them. Okay, there are my leaves on that big one. Now you can add any other color in there that you want, and I want to add this kind of limeish color. It's kind of my Bazinga color. Okay, I need to get that other color off of it there. There we go. Okay, and there's that one. Okay, so now I have two cards. Now I can't use them, of course, because the glue is wet, but I have two that I can use any place I choose. I can use them, now I'm probably going to use them in my grandma's journal, or I could use them in my backyard fun journal. I could use them in any of my garden journals. I could use them in any of my journals because, you know, that's pretty much how all of my journals look. Now, I know that this is dry enough that I'm not going to knock anything wampa-doodled on it, but I do need to be careful. And I do know that my paper is dry enough that I can stick my paper in there. I just have to be careful not to hit my buttons. Now, I can't ink yet because my buttons, they might be. But I can do that. Now, if I do want to ink around it, I just need to choose my color. Now, I am going to use ink. I'm going to use my Distress ink. I'm not going to use oxide. And I'm just going to be gentle around the edges because I don't want to knock my buttons off. Now, I will not put the eyelets in right now. If I'm going to make it into a tag, I'm not going to put the eyelets in right now. But I don't think I am on this paper because it's, I need to be really careful on this one because the paper is still a little soft, even though there are multiple layers. The paper is a little soft. Now, you could ink this before you even do anything on it, if that's what you chose. Of course, you know, you could do that. And that's most likely what I should have done. There. So these two I'm going to call done. They just need to go to my drying station. There. So let me bring them up here so you can see them a little better. So now we have this one. Let's see if this one's dry. Not quite yet. So let's move these. I'm going to move these. Where can we move these? Let's move these over here so they can sit flat. And let's dry this one. I don't want to blow these out of the way. Let's dry this one. See, I got this one so wet the paper started peeling, so That just means I need to put some glue under there, which that's all right. We can do that. So let's turn it around the back and make sure it's dry all the way through. I think it is. Yep. Okay. Now I want to use this little stencil on here, and I want to put this right here. And whatever's left on this, I'm just going to take right over top of it. And I'm just leaving the book page just like it is, but I just want some stencil on it, just for my background. There, see, I just get a couple little polka dots. That's about it. I think I'm going to have a tubby session with everything today. Okay, so now it's time for some more buttons. So this can be anything, but I think before I do that, I am going to take my peeled paint, and I need to take one of these things off here and put my peeled paint on. I know you're thinking, why am I putting peeled paint on when my colors are... this is such a nice dark color on top of the brown. I really like it. Okay. So let's put that over there. Now, where it came up, let's take our glue stick and let's glue it back down right in here. Let's glue that back down. Now let me make sure it didn't come up on any other edges. Oh, right here. Okay. Yeah, this says it's permanent, but I don't think I believe them. Okay, so let's figure out where we want to put some buttons. Now I want to stick with the neutral buttons, some white, some clears. I think I like the whites better. Let's bring some whites over, because they seem to show up the best. Let's see what we have in our button drawer here. Maybe we'll have some pink in here. Oh, we have a yellow. That might work. We have a pink. That one's a little bit big. We have a purple. There's a white. Oh, here's another pink. That one might work. There's a blue. That one would work. Let's see. There's a darker yellow. That's not pink. Okay. Oh, here's a blue. I think that's blue. Let's try that blue. So we have yellow, blue, purple, pink, maybe a couple of white ones. Now, how about maybe, let's see about those. Or I'll tell you what, how about we do paper instead? No, I don't have paper. I don't have my paper out. Let's see. Those are those buttons. Okay, I'm looking at the rest of my buttons here. So hold on a minute, because I have buttons everywhere. trying to get the drawer open. Those are straight pins. We don't want straight pins. Although that'd be interesting, wouldn't it? Those are beads. Ah, what about these? I have smaller ones too. Okay, so maybe you don't have buttons, but maybe you have something like this. So let's see about these. These are a little different. Let's see, I think these are different sizes in here. I think this one's too big. Oh, yeah, that one's way too big. That one's that size. I think the smaller ones are going to be the best ones. Those are too big. I don't think I like that. I don't think I like that either. I like the buttons. See, I have buttons everywhere. All right, let's get our buttons back out. Okay. If I had all of these, we'd make a bigger one. I'll find these and we'll make a bigger one. Okay. Don't want that color. I want the blue. There's the purple. There, I think like that. I think that will work. Oh, here's a little bitty one. That one might work. Okay, I think that'll work. Okay. Now, if we're going to put that on there, I don't think I want that one. I think I want, now where did they go? Here's the big ones. I don't think I want the big ones. I want the small ones. Now, I also just have these little These just came like a $5 store. These are fun to play with. I have no idea what colors I have in these. I've never even played with them. A friend of mine gave them to me. And I don't even know if they work. I have no idea. Oh, that's the fat side. I don't want that. You know what? I have a better idea. Oh, I don't want that one. I want this one. There. I just want it just like that. Whoops. There we go. Oh, these are going to be so fun in a journal. If they'll stop sticking to my fingers. They'll be loads of fun. Let's do it that way. There. Now, we're just going to leave it just like that. We're not going to make it into flowers. We're not going to... I need to clean off the tip of the glue. We're not going to do anything else to it right now. We're going to leave it just like that. And when it dries, I will decide, you know, what else I want to do with it. Do I want to add, you know, make it into flowers? Do I want to make it into a bumblebee? You know, what do I want to do with it? Because right now, I like it just the way it is. Okay, I got something in here, so my glue won't fit back. You know, have you ever had a day like I'm having today with my glue bottle that things just don't cooperate? I had this problem yesterday when I used this, and I should have cleaned it out. Instead of taking the time to do it, I didn't do it. And now I can't get the top of it back in. Silly woman. So I think I'm going to have to do that. Because now I can't close it. All right, so this has been fun playing with our buttons and old paper and just hanging around. I really like doing stuff like this. It's very relaxing. Let me show you all the ones we've done with some old buttons here today. We've done that one. And we've done that one. So this would very, very easily be a really quick mass make for you. You know, just sit down, hang out at your craft table, you know, pull out some buttons, or like I said, stamp some colored paper. And I think we're going to be doing that. I'll get out my scraps of different colors of paper, and we'll just, I'll punch some, I don't even know what they're called, maybe some 1-inch circles, and we'll just do that. We'll just create some with 1-inch circles and maybe 1/2-inch circles, and we'll just create that way. So for those of you that don't have buttons, don't fret. There is a way that you can create fun little things like this. Just use your paper punches. And that way, you can have fun little, cards to put in there. And they will be a lot lighter. I guarantee it, they'll be a lot lighter. They won't have the weight of these, because this one, now it's not too bad. This one's a little heavy, but it's also on, watercolor paper. These two that are on the old book page, they're not as heavy. Even though they have all those buttons, they're not as heavy as the one that's on the watercolor paper. I think the watercolor paper adds some weight to it. So give it a try and have some fun. And remember, you can post on our community page and show me what you've done. I would love to see it if you guys create any of these, or if you've got a journal that you've made, or anything that you create. Be sure to share it with me. I love hearing about what you guys are making and things that you're doing. That is just so exciting to me. I love hearing about stuff like that. So don't forget to post and share so I can see it too, because that just sounds fabulous. So until I see you again in our next Ladybug Journals video, you know what I'm going to say. Ta-ta for now.